TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with a global reach. You just tuned in Out of Bounds with T Rex and the Noops. We got the Go By Seniority. We got Big Duck, Lionel Matt. We got the baby in the house, Big Hank, Henry. I'm going to mess your last name up. Pilcher. Got it
Yes,
right.
sir.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about transgenders in sports. But like I said earlier, I want to ask a question to the guys before we get into it. Is it wrong to say what we're about to say if there was a woman that trans to a man and played in the NFL? Will we be wrong by saying that, by asking these questions? That's what I want to say first.
I would say no.
Well,
If she can handle the hits.
okay.
If she can handle the hits, let her play.
Okay. So now we're just going to talk about how to put a ban on transgender women banned from all girl sports. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I guess when I first heard about this, probably was like in 2016 or 17. And I don't want to mess the young lady's name up. I think it was Andrea Yearwood. I think that's her name. You can probably Google her and find out if that's it. But I think it's around 2016, 2017, where as a high school student, she won the 100 meters and the 200 meters. And then I think as a high school student, and then the case ended up going to court and so forth, but it was thrown out. She was upheld, and she was able to keep her state titles. But it is all over sports in all arenas of sports now, where you have transgender athletes, especially in MMA boxing. You talked about the physicality of football, but there are MMA boxers that are transgender. And I think there's maybe a lightweight champion or one of the lighter weights that is a champion that is transgender. Probably one of the most famous people is Bruce or Caitlyn Jenner. So it's amazing. As for me, my beliefs and just my personal beliefs is that you were born a certain way, and I think that's the way that you should stay. I don't think you as a human being, a person, has the right to dictate, I don't like being black today, so I'm going to change it. I don't like being a female today, so I'm going to change it. So, but that's just my personal beliefs.
I got a shout out. First, I just want to say, hey guys, I appreciate everything and everybody, but I want to shout out to this Laura McKinnon. We're here and we're going to make you everything nice and smooth today. So, Henry, you are absolutely correct.
I couldn't do it.
Pertaining to what it is, but let's try to be politically correct and say transgender male or transgender female. So we'll know which way we're starting. Because if you have transgender male, that means you have the male going to being a female. Okay.
Okay. So we're talking about male, transgender male.
Absolutely. That's the most of it. I have a young lady named Leah Thomas, the Olympic swimmer. She was the most famous swimmer that I know. And she had some complications and, she won many bouts in the swimming pool. But there was a case just about 2 weeks ago outside of Madison, Wisconsin, where a transgender male went into a girl's locker room and exposed themselves. And in that way, the transgender male was about 18 years old. And the persons that saw this was about 14. It was 3 14-year-old females. So what did that do to them? And that was one of the arguments that they're saying. It traumatized them.
Yeah.
So
Well, we got Rodney King on here. Kidney. I mean, not Rodney King. What am I thinking? Rodney Kinney. Ken. He he said, why don't you just make a division for trans period? Because really, he's got a good question because it's not fair. I'm not. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and put my own 2 cents into it. I don't think it's fair. I mean, and I'm trying not to make it comical, so I don't want to say it correctly. If you cut your tree down and you spent the slumps and you spit the stump back, that doesn't make you a woman. It doesn't make you a woman. I mean, you may appear to be a woman, and we can call you a woman, but biologically, you're still a man. No matter how many estrogen or testosterone blockers you take, you're still a man. So, Rodney, I agree with you. We should change that to make a whole division just for them because that's why I asked y'all earlier if a transgender female played in the NFL, she'd get slaughtered because she's not big enough. I don't care how much testosterone her body couldn't process it. So what I'm trying to say is it's not fair to the actual females that are doing it. Just because you choose to be something don't mean that you are that. The law says we have to accept you, but it doesn't mean you are a full-fledged 100% female because you still have the XY chromosome, not the XX. So go ahead with that, fellas.
well, I also read something. This is me. I read something where the under the Biden administration, the Department of Education, they're the ones who made a policy pertaining to the athletic departments in each state. And they said, let it be the decision of the athletic departments within that state. So I did some numbers here. Check this out. We have about 21 states right now that have laws against it. So now we have 29 that don't.
Well,
And that's why we're addressing this because there's 29 states that right now the athletic departments within that state or the school boards have to be the decision makers, not your legislatures.
I just I don't know. I don't mean to cut you off. You're gonna say something, Henry. I just don't. I disagree with that. I mean, the Olympics in any sport is if that's why they call it women's. The NBA is for men. The WNBA is for women. It it don't say for if you assume you whatever. So I would agree with Rodney and Laura. They need the the XY chromosome can't be changed no matter what you do. So the point they should make a whole new Olympic thing. Men's, women, and transgenders. I'm okay with that. I'm not trying to take their rights away, but I'm saying it's not fair for. I mean, that's like if you was what's the dude's name Bugsy? Remember Bugsy used to play basketball, little 5'6".
Mm-hmm.
He could dunk.
Mug,
You all remember him?
Muggsy Bogues.
Now, what if he became a woman? Yeah, what if he became a woman? He would score 100 points a game. They couldn't stop him. He just dunked on them all the time. The dude was bad.
Mm-hmm.
So and I'm not saying he did that. Don't get me wrong. I'm just using him as what if because he's under 6 foot, and I just think that's not right.
Mm-hmm.
That's not right. I know that the LGBTQ community says it's discriminating against transgender people. I don't think it's discriminating against them. What I think it is putting women, the XX chromosome women, not the XY, YYY, or XXY, however they make it break down scientifically. But the XX women don't have a chance against the I mean, come on now. It don't work like that. I mean, I could go, I'm old and washed up. I could go power lift one of those girls. No, it's not fair.
I
Okay,
agree.
I'm done with my spiel, guy.
I agree with you 100%, man. But this is a subject that is nationwide, man, and not only in athletics. You look at sororities now; they got miakas, men interested in AKA, and they wearing the pink and green, the high heel shoes, and all of that, It's.
Well,
I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to judge, but I don't think it's right. I really don't, because I think the true female
well,
is not saying that transgender is not a true female. I'm not saying that. She's at a disadvantage.
So we're also looking
well,
at this. We're looking at it from this point of view too. We do not expect the support, whether someone is trying to support someone from what they have, the appearance on the outside doesn't change what the gender actually is. But I was doing security for a particular venue here in Nashville, and the concert was going on, and the women were not allowed to go into the male's bathroom. However, if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, you allow them to go on the appearance. So right now we're saying transgenders have the appearance of what they are producing. We're not looking at their physical capability, but that's where the unfairness in the competition comes in. The discrimination or the criminals or the act is where the law comes in, and that's where I am. Should there be a law put up against that stuff, or should it just be left up
yes,
to?
it should be.
It should be a law, or should it be left up to the actually governing board over that sport?
I think the House Republicans are trying to put that past right now. That's
They
that's
are, but
that's the information I got.
but the
That's our
Department
information I got.
but the Department of Education has put out the policy to say to the states, you decide.
Well, that's because nobody wants to be wrong. Nobody wants to seem like they're being discriminated against. First of all, don't you have to be classified as a certain group? When did transgender become an official group? Was it what, last year or something
Well,
like that?
that's
I
something
mean,
that I also heard
I
too.
looked at an application. I looked at an application, and the application didn't. I mean, it was online, and it didn't say, "Are you transgender?" It just said
It's
male or
a
female, and then it
male or
asked you your
female.
race.
Well,
So,
the transgender person
so
is going to check that box that they feel that they are associated with. The transgender person is going to, if it's a male, he's going to check the female box. I'm a woman. I'm a woman, or I'm a man. That's the box that they're going to check. But their their faucets say something totally different. So,
well,
we have a restroom at work, where it's male, female. So both parties
mhm.
can go in that restroom, and at the same time. And, are you going to be comfortable you standing at the urinal and, here comes this other person, that's right there with you.
Well, I do it all the time with fellas. I mean, it's no big deal. I mean, but if she's a transgender, that means she's already went through the sex change. So if she can stand in that urine like me and P, I got no problem. I'm just being honest. Transgender doesn't mean you still have your penis. That makes you I don't want to say the word because it sounds mean, but that makes you was it transsexual? Not transsexual. I
I
don't
know.
know what
I
they
know what
call it.
you're
I don't
talking
know,
about.
but I don't want to say I can't say the incorrect word because that offend people. But you don't need to do that. It wouldn't bother me one bit. It wouldn't bother me one bit. But I think the women athletes are the well, hold on. Women athletes are the one that's are fussing about it because it's not fair. I mean, I can understand the law saying because they associate with a group, they should be in that group. I agree. But when it comes to something like sports, the education part has no authority over the sports part, and it should be fair because if you remember, the Russians always shot their girls up with steroids, and that's why they was winning. And then they banned steroids. So now to beat the system, they get their penis cut off, get a couple of boobs, and now they're a woman, but they still got the steroids. It's fair. She had the birth certificate. That's all I got to say. Before we start, for y'all give me a comment. Thanks for tuning in to TAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with a global reach. I'm T-Rex. This is Out of Bounds with my man Big Hank and the mean dog himself, Duck. And I got a good questions for you fellas. How would y'all feel if a transgender wanted to join our fraternity? Since we all noobs here, our fraternity. Let's go straight to it. Let's cut the mustard. How would you personally, your personal opinion?
I will let Duck
start that.
I'll let Duck start that question, sir.
You go give Duck some seniority on that?
I'll do it. You know,
you saying because I'm the senior and I'm the senior Kappa here, we're going to address it the way, how do I feel on a personal matter?
How do you feel? I just talk about deference. We just talking about deference, big brother. Don't jump on me now.
Now we know that the process to become has changed from when we were. Mm-hmm. So because of the process changing, it's more economics that allow people to become, or financial that allow people to become into organizations of some type now. Right. So you don't have to go through a lot. If the application allows them, and we're saying only males. So if a female, transgender female has become a male in the sense, I'm going to say okay, because it's not going to filter into me calling him nothing but a brother. Now, my involvement is not going to hurt me one way or another. I say, let the rocks fall where they may, and make sure that the distance and the walls continuously to be built for me.
I'm going to say that if you guys listen to blues, there's a blues singer by the name of Bishop Bullwinkle, and he has a song that says, "Hell to the no, no, no." Okay. So, Kappa Alpha Psi says we're built on true manliness.
That's for sure, bro.
So, you know, that says it all right there with me, sir. So absolutely not. You know, that's just my personal.
Okay, let me address Laura. I'm sorry, Laura. I don't know why this is offensive, and we're not trying to make jokes of it, even though we giggle and laugh because it's our fraternity. But the topic needs to be talked about because it's affecting everybody. I mean, you can just imagine when it gets down to high school and some guy is 7 foot and he's playing on a girls' basketball team because he got cut off the men's basketball team 2 years earlier, so he became a woman. So, okay, thank you, Laura. But I'm just saying that. But as far as the frat, Duck, you gave the best political answer in the world. As far as the truth, you know, Big Bank, I'm rolling with you on that.
I'm rolling with Big Bank also now. Hell to the no, no, no.
No. Because all I got to say is this. If you don't, you got to bring your birth certificate in. That's part of the paperwork, right? Mm-hmm. Transcripts, yes, birth certificate, so forth. So unless the government is changing birth certificates, I don't know. But I can pull a picture up with me and Mr. Edward G, and I ask him. I don't know if he's going to answer me, but I ask him. I ask him, "Oh, noble big brother," because it's not right.
Right.
It's not right. And the female, back to the sports part of it, the female athletes are really having a hard time with it. And I go back to Rodney. I still say they should have their own thing, and I think that talking about it is the most important thing that we can do right now to help. I got granddaughters. Well, I got grandsons and granddaughters, but I don't want them trying to compete against against a man. That's crazy. I mean, that's just crazy. You can't do that.
Well, I just saw something in London out of 14,000 people running in a marathon track wise, there was a transgender male that became a female, and he ran against them, and he won first place, or they won first place. So in that sense, the chromosomes or the internal parts kicked in to where they were built different, and that's where the unfairness in sports come into play. When you're built different, makes me feel like a Ford truck. Sometimes you just got to ride them till they fall out. But I think a Ford truck is fixed or repaired daily.
I got one. It don't get fixed daily, but I agree with you. I just think that it's a little bit outrageous for any man that becomes a transgender female to think he has the same rights as a woman. I'm not saying we're strictly talking about sports. We're not talking about what the law says. I'm not going to get involved with that. But Laura brought up a real good thing. She said that no matter what we talk about, it may sound offensive, but society's dealing with it right now, and they need to deal with it, and people need to speak up about it. So all I can say is that.
You made mention about Muggsy Bogues, man, and I can't think of the lady's name, and maybe the producer can look it up, but she plays with the Minnesota Lynx, and I think her last name is Clarendon or something like that, and I think she was the first openly transgender female that played in the WNBA, and she may still be playing. It's just and she's accepted. She's playing against other females. That's not complaining. Her own teammates seem to accept her. So Lashea or something like that. I can't remember. I can't remember her name, but she played with the Minnesota Lynx, and I think that was back in 2018 or 19 or something like that. So, but so.
Well, I just got my. I mean, everybody has their own personal opinion on it, and I'm trying to be fair to the female athlete. They already get kicked over. They don't make the same amount of money as the male athlete. Now you got a male coming in because he couldn't make it to the NBA, and now he's playing in the WNBA. And I understand, and I'm not going to go out there and make fun of one of these individuals and call them, if they address themselves as a woman, I'm still going to say, how you doing, ma'am? Even if she like 6'10", 350 pounds, built like a middle linebacker, still going to say the same thing, because that's who she is, and that's the proper thing to do. But I definitely don't want to line up with that same woman on a basketball court, and I'm a 100% female.
It is amazing that we're having this. It's amazing we're having this conversation tonight, because there was a comedy show, and I think it was with the Wayman brothers, or whatever their name is, where they played as a female basketball player. I don't know, you may have seen the comedy show years and years ago, and an outstanding female player, but wasn't that good of a male player, and just dominated the scenes on the female side. So, and here we are talking about this subject now. That's just amazing. Come on, Blind Mellow Jelly. I want my daddy records. Blind Mellow Jelly. I want my daddy records.
Yeah. Well, I'm in total agreement. On a personal note, I feel that if it's someone's choice, I don't want to be able to, one way or another, decide. But if it's within something that's affecting my grandchild, then that's when they say, until it hits your home, you leave it alone. But that's where I guess we need to make a stand before it gets to the house. Well, and that's where I think they need to address it and make these particular laws and make these decisions. I don't want to say just the House of Republicans. I want to say what is right is right. there was a conversation I had with somebody and say there was a Adam and Eve and not an Adam and Steve. There was, there's a situation to where we need to understand that that what we are is all that we are. So that leads me to say this: should that individual have to go through some kind of psychiatric survey, evaluation of some type? Because I think it's a mental problem.
I
mean,
don't think that's the case. I don't think that they'd have to go through an evaluation or nothing like that. That is something that they believe. That is something that they firmly believe. And so the female has the right to determine if she wants to have an abortion or not. So why can't she make the choice to be transgender? You know what I'm saying?
well, hell, Henry, the Supreme Court just said women can't get abortions.
That's true.
Absolutely.
That's
They
true.
just said it. They passed it.
But there's
So,
certain states that still say that they will
well,
honor the
I mean,
abortion.
I'm out here in California. I know California is going to be 100% liberal because they can sue you for anything out here in California. They can sue you because you was picking your nose. They just can sue you. It's going on all the time. First of all, Lord, we can't say that on here. But thank you. We'll leave Satan out of it, all right? But
Uh-oh.
uh, I just want everybody to understand that, we can't just look at them. I mean, everybody's always just looking at the person. I mean, I was younger, and I can remember they didn't want, blacks in sports, period. And then I can also remember I was tiny. I was probably about 5 or 6. I'm trying to remember when Barry Bryant played against one of the teams that had, black players, and he said, "I got to get me a few of them." And that's when the what they call them? What's the white university called, Henry? PWIs or something
Yeah,
like that.
PWI, predominantly white institutions, PWIs.
And that's when they started getting black people to play football for them sports, because the teams that already had them on there was whooping they behind. So when you look at the way laws are going, all I got to say is, everybody's hollering about they being discriminated against, but they haven't even had what we had to do as black people. They didn't have to do none of that. They just, hey, I'm here, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. I mean, I just think that Henry had a good thing about the checking it out, and I mean, I'm okay if a person's gay, or if a person is transgender, or that new one, but they go one day they a male, the next day they're a woman. I don't know about that one. What that one's called. I'm too old to know about that. I'm sure the producer kicking in there and tell us. But I think that because society expects them, takes them that way. I mean, why do with sports? Now, I will say this: if they're gonna let men participate, transgender men participate in female sports, then they should allow the females to take steroids. What do y'all think about that?
Wow. Well, steroids, man, they have an adverse effect on your body. So it's illegal because it's giving you an advantage on over the person that's not doing them. But also look at the health risks that steroids cause. So on a long-term basis as well. So I don't know about
Well, I'm
legalizing.
not talking about the political side, Henry. You 100% correct on the political side. I'm not going to argue with you, and the medical side.
Mhm.
I'm just saying, if you're gonna make it even, then you have to have uh, some way to even out the score, and that's the only way you're gonna even out the score is that the female takes steroids. I mean, because that's the only way you're gonna even it out. And hold on a second, let me do this real quick. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in to Tan TV. We're gonna go a little longer than this 30 minutes. We're you're watching Out of Bounds with T Rex and the Noops. So here we go again. So go ahead, fellas. I mean, I understand what you're saying. Medically, you're correct. But as far as the thing, I mean, I got a question. I got a good question. I wish Ricky Daniels was here. You got a transgender male wants to sit in his bullpen. What you think gonna happen?
Well, we know what would happen. We know what would happen in Ricky's church. Um,
Okay,
that would
and
that
I'm just
wouldn't
saying.
that wouldn't sit well with him. No, sir. So, but
I mean, I'm not gonna throw the Bible in there. I was just messing with Ricky.
right,
I'm not gonna throw the Bible in there and talk about what's right or wrong because some people don't believe in the Lord and that's their business. I do, and I know you guys do. We on Bible study together, but I still think that if you're gonna allow a man to compete with a woman as a female, okay, I don't know, transgender male is going to compete with the females. You got to give them an edge because it's just I could imagine uh, soft pitch, fast softball, that fast one. And the dude was a pitcher and he beamed my granddaughter. Oh, it'd be on. I'm just telling you, be on. I had to walk out there with my cane, but you know, it's a big difference than when that girl and them girls be throwing that ball fast too. They be throwing it fast, but a dude can whip that puppy around more because he's got more muscle, and
right,
that's all I'm saying.
right.
I'm gonna shut up,
But if
Doug. I
you're
know you
looking
got
at
something to say.
yes, if you're looking at fair competition, it's nothing fair when it comes down to winning. People have done and went to the extreme in winning. They
Oh,
have bent the rules and they will continuously look for an advantage. So, enhancement drugs uh, in the sports is also going to be just another way. Catch me if you can.
that
So
is
that's
true.
what they do. We have to have these criterias to where we have to have the evaluation process and we have to have the penalties. If so be lack of a better word, we have to have penalties to understand.
Well,
There are consequences to
That
be
is
made.
true.
but Terry makes a good point, man. He's saying make the level ground equal for the female athlete if you got males transgendering into the female arena and competing
Right.
against them. And he's saying make it easy, which we did. We said that in sports and in football. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, we got to do something to keep the boosters from giving these guys money. Now you got NIL money. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So they got more NIL money that you got some athletes making millions and millions of dollars as an athlete in college. So
Mm-hmm.
they tried to level the playing field like that. So, and I'm sure something will be done uh, that will apply to the transgender athlete as well. So,
Well, I'm sure it's going to come about, but I still go back to Rodney. I know he stepped off. I don't see him making any more comments, but I still say that the only way it's going to be fair is for them to have their own uh, part in the Olympics. You know, just make it a part for them. I mean, some of them ladies in the WNBA can probably beat some of the men in the NBA, but they're not going to beat the top stars. So that means they can go down there. Those ladies, we're talking about the transgender ladies. We're going to go down and they're going to go to the WNBA and kill it. So uh,
hey,
I
Ricky.
just I just go back to what it's really
Yeah.
all about. Don't do it. I say don't do it. Was that Ricky? I thought that was Ricky calling him. But you know what I'm just trying to be real, Duck. I mean, I know it's not the political thing to say, and I'm sure somewhere along the line I'm gonna get some hate from somebody. But I'm not thinking about it, you know. Just think how much women are mad about pay. They want equal pay, right? But then
Absolutely.
but that same woman becomes a man and he wants to play by, he wants equal too, but he's not a woman. I'm not saying I'm talking about in the technical sense of birth. He's not a woman. So I don't know what the government or the ruling bodies of high school sports and college sports and pro sports are going to come up with. But as far as they need to do it now because pretty soon you said one's already playing in WNBA. You know I don't know what to say.
But we definitely need to let it play out. Is all I'm saying. Let it play out and let the governing bodies decide. And if they ended up, uh, even though this is the America land of the free and opportunity, you know, we have already considered there's going to be opposition. There's going to be opposition, but there's also the opportunity. And we want to be as fair. We want to be as unbiased. We want to have no discrimination. We want to be able to say, let everybody be who they are for whatever reason they are. However, there has to be a governing body.
That is true. That is true. That is true. Laura, we don't know the rules either, but we know we can't say that. So we'll leave Satan alone in this conversation today. But that was a good one, though, Laura. That was very good. She's from my high school in Waynesville, Missouri. So, Missouri is like, Missouri like Tennessee, boy, they don't play. They don't play. They speak what they got to say.
And they also
But
say,
all I got
show
to
me.
say is this. All I got, I'm time out on that one. I'm not going with that. Would show me. I just think that, we have to be fair across the board. Okay. I mean, next we're going to have high school kids playing in pop water sports. You know what I'm saying? Because it's okay. Somebody's got to draw the line somewhere. I mean, I'm not talking about them out in society. I'm not talking about out society. I mean, I don't believe I've worked with a transgender person, so I can't really say that I went into the locker room or at the time I was in the Navy. I know they didn't have none. We had some gay people, but not no transgenders. When I was at the railroad, I'm not 100% sure, so I can't say yay or nay on that one. But your sex preference is your business. And if you dress like Duck say, if you look like a duck or walk like a duck, you're a duck. I agree with that outside the sports arena. But inside the sports arena, I gotta say, fellas, I gotta be honest. I think it's unfair to the ladies. I think it's ladies. I mean, I don't want to say true ladies. I'm talking about birth ladies. How's that? Is that better?
Yes, sir.
Totally
So
agree.
now she wants to know she graduated with my baby brother. She graduated with Poochie. He ain't the baby in the middle. What do y'all think, man? I mean, I know I got y'all on the point. Well, before we go, let's just get off transgenders. Let's get off transgenders real quick. I want to bring this one up real quick off the top of my head. What do y'all think about that shooting in Texas, man? At the mall, dude just get out the car. I don't know his mental state, so I'm not going to go with there. Because they always say if he's not black, then he's got a mental problem. That's just the way the media plays it or the police plays it. But the truth of the matter is, homeboy got out the car and just start firing on people walking into the mall in Texas with it looked like an AR. It looked like an AR or M16 or something like that. What do y'all think about that? Since y'all do live in a state that open carries, I'm asking you guys that question before we go.
That's diabolical, man. To just open fire on mass amount of people for no reason at all. That is why we've said this over and over before. The gun situation has got to be banned. Those AR-15s, assault weapons. What is the purpose for having them other than to do mass harm? And we've talked about that before, but that's just diabolical. You say you don't want to talk about his mental state. Something has not right, because maybe something snapped or what, but he's not right at that time. To open up on innocent people is diabolical, man. That is diabolical, brother.
Which I don't know the rules in the gun industry to where they are allowed. I don't understand how things are allowed to be to where they get to that point. And then as far as the regulations, then somebody is saying we are making it and this is the capabilities and it's always going to get new and improved. But if you can't regulate the amount of ammunition that a person can buy, if you can't stop the amount of uh, how many times the rounds are being shot out of a particular weapon. If you can't
Mm-hmm.
stop, then someone's going to start getting bigger and better. And I'm just
That is
thinking,
true.
when is it going to wait? When is it going to stop? Because one, our law enforcement have to have them because they're already out there against them. But then again, it's
That's true.
it's no way possible. Violence is bad in America. Violence is bad. We need to start having what you call accountability. Accountability, and that should
Yeah.
always lie upon those that's either purchasing or selling.
Well, what do you think there, Mr. Henry?
I agree, man. Like I said before, that's 100%. I think the weapons should be banned, be totally banned. I think the violent games such as Call of Duty, I think they need to be banned also because that says it's okay to do that. You know what I'm saying? And, I think the parents need to step in and monitor what the children are doing, um,
Mm-hmm.
and so forth. I think it needs to be. It is easy to go out and buy a handgun or buy a weapon now. People are actually making their own assault weapons now since,
Yes, they are.
and that is absolutely
Yes, they
crazy.
are.
When you order those parts, when you order that stuff, you need to be investigated. So, but there you got the right to bear arms. You got the right to do this and do that. Tennessee is now open carry state. You don't even have to have a permit. So which is absolutely crazy.
Well, this is with the reason why I brought this up for you guys is this is my opinion on it. Okay. We cannot stop people from apparently the government with since what was that? Sandy Hook was the first high school that had the mass shooting.
Yes.
So we haven't stopped mass shootings yet. So why don't all these states like California jump on board like Texas, Missouri, Tennessee, and let everybody open carry? Wrong or not, 9 times out of 10, those people are not really want to get shot. Most of the time, they just want to do the shooting and surrender. Homeboy got shot, but I think if you can deter it, if they see one person with a gun or three people with a gun, maybe they might think second about it. I don't know. I mean, so either if they're not gonna do one thing by banning that weapon, then they need to make the whole country like it was back in the wild wild west. Everybody can carry open, and then we'll see what happens. Then they be having bazookas and tanks. I can remember when I was stationed in San Diego, a homeboy stole a tank from the National Guard and was driving down the I-5 freeway. So what more can I say, man? You know,
Wow.
they
I
always
totally
gonna go
agree.
bigger or better. That's just the way. So let's just give our closing. Let's give our closing remarks right now, and then we'll get ready to get off. We'll start with you, Mr. Matthews. We'll let you go first, not because you're older than us, but just because you got deference for us.
And them
Tonight,
black shades.
tonight's been a good night. I'm looking forward to this upcoming week, guys. Uh, for those who need to know, uh, we're gonna bless our mothers. We're gonna recognize them
Yes.
in a good way. So until then, this is Doug.
All right, I'm a piggyback off of Duck. We're not gonna only um, recognize our mothers. We're gonna recognize our wives, if if they have children and so forth. So she is a mother. So we're gonna recognize them. We're gonna recognize the queen of the family. There are so many women out there, man, that may not be married, but they are influences on so many lives, and they are mothers,
Hmm.
and they do need to be recognized. So I say big ups to every lady out there. Happy Mother's Day, happy
Yeah,
day.
we'll,
Oh,
and
days.
I'm gonna piggyback off of you, Henry, and it'll be on Big Duck at the same time. I think we should when we talk about mothers. I got daughters that are mothers, and I don't know if y'all
Exactly.
don't have daughters, so it's going to be about all mothers, ladies, and we're gonna I'm gonna see if I can get some special guests to come on. Maybe we get Jimmy to come back on, and maybe we'll get somebody else. Maybe JP be back by then, so we can have more people to give their opinions. But until then, everybody, hey, thanks for tuning in to TAN TV, the African American Network. We have a local field of global reach. This is Out of Bounds with T-Rex. I'm T-Rex. We got Henry Pitcher, Mr. Matthews, my frat brothers,
Love.
Theta Beta chapter. Just want to say, hey.
Hey, peace out, guys.
Peace, love, and
Woo.
soul.
All right. All right. Goodbye.